So New Voices Opera is the culmination of, it's been 7 years now since it began. So it actually started off as the dissertation project of two different doctoral students. One of them was a composition doctoral student, the other a vocalist who was dabbling in arts administration. And the composition student had an opera that he wanted performed, 45 minutes to an hour or so. The arts admin student said, well, can students put on an opera? Is it possible? So that was his dissertation, was how do students come together and run an opera company themselves? So they did it. They put it on in about 4 months from start to finish. Got a whole team, got whole marketing, development people, artistic directors and administrators, and it just kind of turned into a thing that once both of them completed their doctorate and graduated, everybody else wanted to keep it going. And so we're now 7 years down the road. It's evolved. We probably had 50 or so people go through the board over the last 7 years, which means that there's now 50 new opera administrators that did not exist before. And that is exactly what the mission of NVO is. We are hoping to be a training organization, not only for singers, because they obviously have wonderful opportunities here, to study and to learn, but also for people who want to be on the arts administration side. So people, again, who are in marketing and getting the word out to people who are in development and finding grant work and finding money for the arts, people who are in artistic administration, who are auditioning, people who are managing artists. And then also we've brought in stage directing students, we've brought in theater, we've brought in playwrights, we've brought in costumers. So all of these people are people who have been able to learn and to grow, as well as the composers themselves, who are learning what it's like to put on a brand new opera. So that is what NVO's goal is to train people on all sides of the coin as to what is going on in producing a new work. And to date, I think we've done 10 brand new operas. That's 10 world premieres that never would have happened without students coming together to do this. So every fall, as we start the process of putting a new opera together, we put out a call for scores to the composition department right here. We've had people inquire actually from all over the world who wanted to submit operas to us, but we like being able to keep it local and have face-to-face interactions with everybody that we're working with, so we can all kind of understand and grow and learn together. So we put out that call usually in May or so. We get submissions through until September. We review these and we actually perform at least excerpts, if not the entire submission of every single one that gets submitted. So if you submit a score at all, it will be read and performed in what is typically our fall exhibition at the end of November. After that fall exhibition, we take input from our audience as well as from the singers, the pianists, the composers, and our artistic board. And all of us vote on 2 operas that we'd like to see come to fruition a year and a half later. So while all of that is going on, we're actually working with the composers from the previous years to kind of fine-tune their operas. What can we do? What can actually happen on the facilities that we have? We started out in the Waldron Arts Center and have since given all of our performances at the Buskirk-Chumley Theater, which is a fantastic space for opera. And so we're able to kind of see, well, what is possible, what's doable, what is the real world opera situation like, and what can we do to mimic that, as well as what people can we bring in. So from September or so, clear through March, we're fine-tuning, well, what is our costuming going to look like? What budget do we have for putting up sets? Because we actually do full-on stage productions of each of these operas. We're recruiting orchestra members, we're auditioning singers and going through rehearsal. And then in March and April, clear up to typically finals week of the spring semester, we're rehearsing with all of those students, we're putting the music together, we're bringing in stage directors from the theater department, either faculty or students who are also learning how to direct opera. And we're putting these operas together. And then finals week of each year, they get performed. We usually have probably 2, 3, 4 nights of rehearsal, and then put it up on Thursday night, and it's one performance only of a world premiere work, actually 2 world premiere works every spring. So yeah, it's a quite intense process, a lengthy one, and it can be hard for us too, because we have people who are graduating every spring, but we also have contracts that are running a year and a half long. So it's quite a process also to have a brand new board coming in every year, kind of picking up where the last people left off, and still being able to fulfill the contracts, which we've been able to do every year. So. Yeah, I think there are a lot of ways that NVO tries to tie in with Bloomington. We've become a big player in the Bloomington Downtown Arts Council and the things that go on down there. So we actually receive grant work from them, and in return are out there helping to foster business work that's happening downtown, either by making sure that when people come into town, they're actually, patronizing the local businesses that they're around, and eating at restaurants, that they're going out to bars afterwards, that they're, we have a sponsorship community built with us, and in return with the community around us. We're also reaching out always for other performance venues and looking for other spaces, not just to move theaters at the end of the year, but also to be doing little outreach events throughout the year. A couple of years ago, we actually did some caroling out at Butler Winery at Christmas time, got a little bit of income for the organization, but it was also great to just be out there and be showing what we can do. We've had musical theater reviews in the past. We've had little performances of scenes from the operas that are going up in the spring. So we do our best to really engage with the community as much as we can and pick topics that are relevant to people today. And one of the operas that we had selected for this year was based on The Jungle by Upton Sinclair. And so it really dealt with immigration, with racism, with a lot of issues that are hot button topics today. So it was really great, I think, to see the arts not only being there to look at, but to be engaging for our audience and for our community. Yeah, as far as growth for NVO, we're actually working on a number of new initiatives as far as either how to refine the process that we're doing right now, or how to continue to grow it and build it so that it reaches other communities aside from the IU campus or the Jacob School or Bloomington. We've been in talks with the Indianapolis Opera artistic director, not necessarily to get shows done there, but to have them coming down as well to see the work that we're doing, get some input from their artists, from their composers, see what their process is like, and really refine the things that we're doing here as far as workshopping and performance spaces. But we've also been talking about, what would it look like if we took one of our operas here and brought it up to Indianapolis for one night. We do all this rehearsal here, and every student gets to do the opera once. So what if we were able to go up and take this and hear feedback from an entirely different community that really gets to see how engaging the Jacob School of Music is, and the fantastic work that's going on here in Bloomington. So we're excited to see how that pans out in the next few years, and if it does, but we do have an official partnership with Indianapolis Opera on sort of collaborating and figuring out what it is that NVO is doing from a professional viewpoint.